Order. In accordance with the leave of the House, this debate is adjourned and is set down for resumption next sitting day. I call on Poto Williams to make her maiden statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ina mana, ina reo, ina karangaranga taha maha, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Mr. Speaker, distinguished members, colleagues, friends, supporters and family, kia ora na koutou katoa tōna roto e te aroa mata o Tetua. My parents came to this country in the 1950s to give their family a better life. We had a happy childhood amongst our wider whānau and the children of other immigrant families. We didn't have a lot, but Dad always had a job, we owned our home, and we always had food. But times changed in New Zealand, and by the time I started working in the social services sector, I realised some families didn't have it so good. On the 4th of April 1999, Riri Oturangi, James Faku died from injuries sustained from severe and prolonged beatings from his mother's partner. He was not the first child to die from the euphemistically described non-accidental injuries, and he's not been the last. But his story, like no others before it, left me with a deep sadness of the lives many of our children live. I return to him often to honour his short and tragic life and to reaffirm my commitment to our children. There's an image of James when he holds his face in the palms of his hands, a boy with a sunny disposition who, in his darkest hours, must have thought, "What have I done to deserve this treatment?" And what would be our response to him if he asked us why? A decent, respectful society is one that shows the highest level of care for its most vulnerable and marginalised citizens, and it enhances the mana of us all if, at their lowest ebb, we show them the deepest of our love and care. Every member of this august House would hold that to be the sacred duty of government to care for its people. However, we may differ on how we achieve that and who is the most vulnerable and therefore the most deserving. For me, actively engaged in the very grassroots of community life, the dream I have for my community is one where all of our people are housed in warm, dry, appropriate and affordable homes, where families can put down roots and develop those social connections that enhance and sustain our lives. It is a place where none of our children go hungry, they are warm, they are healthy, and above all, they are safe from the violence in their homes at the hands of those who are charged with their care. My dream includes ensuring that we all have the same opportunities. The playing field is levelled and everyone has a fair go at reaching their potential. It is a place where, when unwell, healthcare is accessible and affordable according to our circumstances. It is a place where wealth of the nation can be more fairly distributed to those who need it, without discouraging those who earn it, and where we all pay our fair share. It is also a place where a decent day's work is rewarded with a decent living wage. In our current environment of a low-waged economy, we have pushed the unwaged further and further into poverty. We require of them, whether they are capable of it or not, to jump increasingly more difficult hoops in order to satisfy ourselves that they deserve the help we provide. I fully believe that it is a privilege to have the support of the taxpayer, but it also has to be noted that if those who avoid paying their fair share were required to do so, there would be more to go around. It has also become a place like no other time before where holding down a job does not guarantee you have enough to care for the needs of your family, even if you are working in more than one job. What I want is a place that listens to the voices of children, that provides support and care for them when they witness and experience the trauma resulting from violence, abuse and neglect, where we don't permit damaged children to go on being harmed and support them to become well, whole and capable of reaching their potential. So what would this have meant for James's mother? What outcome for him? if she had had teenage pregnancy help and support for her mental well-being? What if bonding and attachment with her young baby had been encouraged and nurtured? What if she had had access to training and resources and housing to raise her young child confidently? What outcomes for James then? He could now be a young man embarking on training or work or study, but we will never know. But surely it would have tilted the odds more in his favour. There is a direct correlation between the level of inequality in a society, the haves and the have-nots, and the level of social harm experienced by that society. Mental unwellness, teenage pregnancy, suicide rates, dependency issues, poverty, poor health outcomes occur to a greater degree when that gap widens. Tax changes, the living wage, job creation, regional renewal program, all these things contribute to a more egalitarian society, a fairer society. I have actively championed communities to be empowered to decide for themselves what is in their best interests. This can be achieved to benefit communities if they are provided with the right information to make informed choices. There is no doubt in Canterbury the extraordinary times require extraordinary responses. But I, for one, have always felt you should bring the people along the road with you when decisions are made that impact them, their assets, the places that they live, and how they live their day-to-day lives. So why, when communities where I live, in a period of the most significant and profound change of their lives, of an entire generation most likely, are they not able to make decisions for themselves? When we measure our responses, as I believe we should, to the plight of our people in the most difficult of times we have experienced in our recent history, will the examination of our conscience make us proud or ashamed? Here I must pay my respects to my predecessor who worshipped the Honourable Leanne Dalzell, who has taken her formidable skills to now lead our city into a more stable and positive time. I look forward to working with you and thank you for the opportunity you have provided to me. Many of your supporters have said I have large shoes to fill. At least I start with a healthy footprint. I would like to take this opportunity to honour the people of Christchurch's electorate who, believe me, are not shy at telling you what they really think and have high expectations for their representatives. Their needs are fairly simple and specific: the opportunity to be heard, their views considered, the ability to be fully participant in the decisions that impact their lives, and above all, a fair go. For you, the electorate, I champion affordable housing that meets your needs and is fit for purpose. I will also champion inclusive democracy and decision-making, the speeding up of processes that have stymied your opportunity to move on from the quakes. To the battlers of you out there, keep battling on. Let's get our homes repaired and rebuilt, and let's get our community and families reconnected and enjoying the most naturally beautiful part of our city. As the third anniversary of February 22 quakes nears, I want us all to reflect on the impact 3 years of stress and unresolved trauma on the people I represent and the resulting ill health, alcohol, substance abuse, rates of violence in the home, high divorce rates and separation. We have had help to combat the medium term's effect, but as funding for these services is relinquished later this year, the NGO sector will likely pick up an increase in demand with no resulting increase in resource. All international literature on the impacts of major disasters state it is post the third anniversary that levels of unwellness truly escalate and our ability to cope diminishes. It would appear that vulnerability can be determined by a date, and that after the 30th of June we will no longer need earthquake support to the level we currently receive. We have had to bring in large numbers of workers to cope with the level of rebuild activity for our city. And I would like to think that we are able to provide opportunities for our young people, very many of them unemployed and not in training, with the chance to be the rebuilders of our city. This takes commitment by us to invest in their training and in the trades and associated services. Hand in hand with this is the commitment to invest in activities that create jobs, not just for Canterbury, but across the country and in particular regional New Zealand. One such activity will be Kiwibuild, Labour's commitment to build 100,000 homes for New Zealand families. Families build communities, especially if they are able to secure long-term tenure in their homes. The relationships and networks that develop are the very threads of strong social fabric, which supports us in our times of need and shares with us in our times of joy and celebration. Our young people could be involved in building the nation's homes, homes that they may have the once-in-a-lifetime chance to own themselves. However, affordability can only be achieved through the government's ability to build in quantity and to access its favourable finance terms. Today is one of great honour to my family. My loved ones have joined me today and I thank them for their continued support and love and advice. It's an important day for the Cook Island and the Pacific communities as well. And here I want to acknowledge Alfred Nuttall for being the first Cook Island member of the New Zealand Parliament. I have the honour of being the first Cook Island woman in the House of Representatives, the first Cook Island elected Member of Parliament. I am also the first Pacific representative from Christchurch and from the South Island. I have colleagues and friends here from Christchurch East, including Pacific leaders, without whose support and encouragement and very hard work I would not be celebrating with you today. Mai taki mata, whawhetai lava, malo au pito. I want to conclude with a Cook Island saying, me kai koe e tuku poke, e uri tau aro te mana wa'ara. Never forget that you do not succeed by yourself. At times of your greatest achievement and celebration, we must acknowledge those who have provided the opportunity and support that brings you to this reward. And most especially, we must acknowledge our ancestors, our heritage, and those who have passed on. Therefore, to my parents, Nahura and Marion Williams, my brother Aaron Masters, and my guiding light James Faku, I say moi moi rā, ai re rā, me taki mata. I hope that all these things bring honour to your memory and serve as a marker of what can be achieved when we stand on your shoulders and raise the expectations for our people who come after us. I leave you with this challenge to find within you that guiding light, like James Faku is for me. The inspiration to make our country the best place for us, for our children, for our families, for our community. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Order. I call on Joanne Hayes to make her maiden